Good afternoon. This is the Board of County Commissioners meeting. It is Tuesday, June 28th, 2022. It is 2:01 p.m. I'm Carolina Mejia. I'm the chair of the board. With me today is Commissioner Gary Edwards. Vice Chair Ty Menser is excused. I'm calling this meeting to order. This is a hybrid meeting. County Manager Ramiro Chavez, as well as Assistant County Manager, have joined us, and Clerk of the Board, Jamie Caldwell. We will start with our Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Commissioner Edwards.
And I, in turn, will ask Greg Moe to lead us in the pledge today, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Moe.
Thank you. Next, I'll do a land acknowledgement. We would also like to start today with a land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge the Indigenous Salish people who have lived on and cared for the lands and waterways of this county since the immemorial and who still inhabit the area today. Specifically, the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Chehalis people are sovereign tribal partners. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. The purpose of this acknowledgement is to disrupt ongoing erasure of injustice done and to remember history as a stepping stone towards healing. Thank you. Next is the approval of the Tuesday, June 28th agenda.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd move to approve the agenda for Tuesday, June 28th, 2022.
I will second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser is excused. Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. Next is the approval of the board meeting minutes from June 21st.
Yes, ma'am. I would move for the approval of the board meeting minutes from June 21st, 2022.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser is excused. Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. Next, we have a presentation from Public Works, the Sunrise Beach Road Northwest, January 2022 slide repair. And this is project number 5CW024, project completion. And Scott Lindblom, our county engineer, will be presenting on this.
Great. Thank you, Commissioners. Scott Lindblom, County Engineer. The item before you today is a brief presentation on a project we recently completed. And Marcus Storvik, my esteemed colleague, will be advancing the slides. So first slide, please, Marcus. So just for your awareness, Sunrise Beach Road is in the northwest part of Thurston County. It's a narrow winding road, dead end along Eld Inlet. It serves as the only access for about 50 homes, and it's somewhat close to Griffin School and Highway 101. Next slide, please. The road itself sees about 400 vehicles each day. These vehicles include not only the residents that live out there, but also deliveries, school bus drivers, or school buses, and emergency vehicles. This slide that occurred in January is just south of where a large slide occurred back in January, February of 1999. That slide occurred at the north end of Sunrise Beach Road. Next slide, please. Public Works received a report of possible road damage after the county was hit hard with heavy winter storm that brought a lot of rain to the area. Staff inspected the site on January 6th, but by the time we got to the site, it was very dark and raining. So it was very hard to tell the extent of the damage. But what we were able to tell is that certainly a one-lane closure was definitely warranted, and we put out barricades that night. Our concern, based on the slide we had in 1999 that I mentioned, the concern was that further damage to the road could perhaps landlock the 50 homes that were beyond that section of road with no access for schools or emergency services or anything. So on the evening of January 6th, we worked with emergency management and the county manager to work toward declaring a local emergency. This declaration allowed the county to quickly mobilize private contractors It proved essential for us to quickly respond to the slide. Next slide, please. Staff and one of our on-call consultants, Landau Associates, were on site before first light on January 7th to begin to assess the situation. Later that day and throughout the weekend, drilling rigs and crews worked throughout the weekend and into the next week to begin the assessment of the slide and come up with some ideas and plans for the repair. We used drones to obtain survey information that allowed us to quickly get survey and also avoided us putting survey crews at risk in an area that was still perhaps sliding. As the design was underway, we started getting a contract together with Roglins of Aberdeen so they could begin work as soon as the design was complete. Once the design was complete, Roglins got right to work. Part of the repair included removing about 1,800 yards of very soft, muddy soil from the hillside. Once that was removed, we were able to temporarily store that soil on site near Highway 101 and Steamboat Island Road on a piece of vacant property owned by the DOT, who was very accommodating in letting us use that site. Next slide, please. Once the nearly 2,000 yards of soil was removed, we put back about 3,000 tons of porous balls as a way to help buttress or help protect that steep slope down there. We ended up putting erosion control matting and extensive planting as at the bottom of this hillside is a small stream that the slide impacted. Once complete, the guardrail was installed on March 31st of this year, only 85 days after the slide occurred on January 6th. Included in that 85 days was the field investigation, the contracting, permitting, design, and construction. Next slide, please. All in all, that project cost just under $500,000. We anticipate requesting funding from FEMA for some reimbursement for that. If we are successful, we could be eligible for up to 90% of the cost to be reimbursed by FEMA. That process does take a long time. We've not submitted our application yet, but we are hopeful that we'll be getting some reimbursement for our costs back. And with that, that is the conclusion of this very brief update for you on the Sunrise Beach slide. Any questions?
Thank you, Scott. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott. I don't have
Thank you.
questions as well. County Manager?
No, I just want to extend my appreciation to Scott and Public Works to quickly respond to this emergency. And job well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is an opportunity for the public to address the board. I do want to let members of the public know that our meeting for next week, July 5th, is canceled. We will be having a review of our agenda on July 6th at 1 p.m. if you would like to tune in and see our agenda for July 12th. So with that, there are some guidelines for public comments at the Board of County Commissioners. The Board of Thurston County Commissioners welcomes comments from the public. However, there are some guidelines governing such comments to ensure they are appropriate and do not take advantage of the fact that most meetings are televised. The general speaking guidelines are as follows. Please introduce yourself, including the address you reside in the county. Please address the board, not the audience or staff. Please silence your cell phones for those in the boardroom. Speakers are limited to a total of 4 minutes to address the board. Meeting attendees cannot donate their speaking time to another person. No comments that are lewd and offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outburst of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion of a for-profit business. All materials provided to the county may be considered public records, subject to public release upon request pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 4256 of the RCW. No remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before the board on appeal, and no electioneering. Thank you so much for your cooperation. I will start with the members of the public who are present in the boardroom, and then I will move to Zoom. The first person I have signed up is Paula Lowe.
I'm Paula Lowe. I live on Pattison Lake on Rumack Street. Commissioners, I am the chair of the leadership team for the proposed Pattison Lake Management District. I appreciate the commissioners moving forward the Patterson Lake Management District process after months of delay. The Water Resources Department has prepared a timeline for Lake Management District approval that doesn't enable the Patterson Lake Management District to start in 2023 as stated in our petition. When commissioners voted to move forward the Patterson Lake Management District process, the motion included, and I quote, "as quickly as legally possible," end quote. At the June 21st meeting, Commissioner Menser said, quote, "I know this is a long process to form, so I've asked that we expedite it in any way," end quote. The Olympian reported on Sunday on the Patterson Lake Management District process, and the article stated the district would begin in 2023. Many Patterson Lake residents read the article and anticipate that the district will begin next year. The Patterson Lake Management District leadership team is extremely disappointed that after reviewing the detailed timeline by Water Resources staff, that the Lake Management District will not start in 2023, as stated in the petition, and move forward by the commissioners. I am here to request the Water Resources staff expedite the process as directed by commissioners so the timeline meets deadlines and starts the program in 2023. Thank you for your time and attention.
I have a question of the county manager, ma'am.
Go ahead and ask. Go ahead, sir.
Are we scheduled for 2023 or 2022?
So the process with the Patterson Lake started late in the year. And when the board provided direction to begin the process, I believe that we are making every single effort to expedite the process within the legally bound requirements. And we knew and we informed the board that perhaps maybe a possibility will not be able to form before the end of this year to begin the process in 2023. We have checked with the county treasurer any other options that perhaps we may have, whether to begin at the middle of the year. We're still exploring that. But the timelines that we have prepared, as far as my understanding, is what is legally possible and bound. Because after the public hearing that you have a schedule for July 26th, an election process needs to go through. And that carries their own timelines. So what I can do is probably get a copy of what Ms. Lowell has received in terms of the timelines and work with the staff to see if there's any options as to how we can expedite the process within the requirements stated by the law.
Thank you.
Next, I have Diane Perlman.
Thank you. My name is Diane Perlman, and I live at 4035 116th Avenue Southeast, Olympia, on the north side of Offutt Lake. So this is the lake meeting today, I guess. In the midst of these challenging times, I come to share a success story with you today. I've lived on Offutt Lake for the past 22 years and have been swimming in it since I was a child. As you know, Offutt Lake is a small, quiet fishing lake in rural Thurston County. People pretty much stay to themselves and enjoy their autonomy and their privacy. A group of concerned lake residents began meeting last August in response to watching our lake begin to turn into a swamp. We formed a steering committee and contacted the county to begin to educate ourselves as to the options for addressing our concerns. So from the very first, this was driven by citizen desires. The Offutt Lake Steering Committee was very pleased at the public response. We held 2 public meetings in January to solicit input on how to form, what people thought about forming, and improving the quality of our lake. More importantly, though, we asked them what we should look at in terms of assessment, and almost 100% of the people at both meetings said go high. And you see, they understood that if you assess low, you don't have a whole lot of money to work with. If you assess higher, you can get more things done sooner. Our steering committee worked tirelessly during the winter and spring to complete the required documentation to submit our petition to be an Offutt Lake Management District. As our email list kept increasing, we scheduled 2 public signing events in June, one on the north side and one on the south side of the lake, as well as a special meeting for an HOA group that were kind of questioning and hesitant and not sure what they were actually signing on for if they signed the petition. Residents at this time, when they signed the petition, were encouraged to donate $50 because we told them if 100 people each donated 50, we'd make our 5,000. Now here's the success story I promised when I started here. In less than 2 weeks, we had 54% of the acreage around Offutt Lake in the proposed LMD sign affirming that they wanted to form an LMD. Now, you know the RCW only requires 20, but we wanted to see if there really was the public support for this. So we were so excited and so pleased. Every person who signed knew exactly what they were going to be assessed, because it does vary depending on if you're lakefront or uplander, and seniors and disabled and all of that. And thanks to many generous people, we did reach our $5,000 goal. So the community came together in an inspiring and positive way. And all of you know how we felt the last few years, COVID, everybody kind of in their little foxholes. And so it was just like a community that's not historically a tight community at all, pretty much rural, quiet, came together and now have a common goal that they're excited about. So now I'm coming to your part. As your role of county commissioners, you are indeed stewards. You are stewards of the land and the water that make this the best state to live in. We submitted our paperwork, the bond, all the required signatures, everything on 2 weeks ago, June 13th. We realize it takes time to process all of this, and it is our hope that when it is presented to you in the near future, that you will support our efforts and our petition. I think it's important to note that we are not asking for $1, and in fact, we're asking for the opportunity to tax ourselves. And I think that's pretty phenomenal in a time of increasing inflation, and everybody's still just coming out of this worldwide event that we've had. So I hope that you'll take the opportunity to consider our petition, and we look forward to working with you on this. Thank you.
Next is Bob Jensen.
Thank you, Commissioner Mejia and Commissioner Edwards. My name is Bob Jensen, and I've lived in Lacey since 1968. When I retired in 2004, we moved to Pattison Lake, the Pattison Lake Townhomes, which is on the north end along Mullet Road. And one of my sports was swimming. I swam during the summer as much as I could. I wouldn't swim in the winter, but I did try the summer. I enjoyed it. And then in 2010, as I recall, for the first time in my life, I saw on this lake, or any lake, a green, oily sheen on the lake. And we live on the north end. The south end has even worse problems. But here it was, and I wondered, what in the world is this? Having worked with the Department of Ecology, I was very concerned for many reasons, and I support what has been done here with this lake management district, because it gives the opportunity for the people on the lake to see for what are the reasons, what can be resolved here, how can be helped with the county. I've contacted the county health department, started with this first algae bloom, took a water sample and they measured it, and sure enough, it was toxic blue-green algae. And I had remembered back when I lived with ecology, I was an attorney one time for a case in Seattle, Spokane rather, where the city dumped raw sewage temporarily while they connected to secondary treatment. In that, a lot of phosphorus went into the river. Spokane River went to what's called Long Lake, and there was an algae bloom of tremendous proportions on this lake. We had a testimony from Dr. Edmondson from the University of Washington who said, well, phosphorus is obviously the problem here. He remembered when Lake Washington, I think he was the person that proposed and eventually was one of the underlying factors of sewering Lake Washington, because a lot of beaches were being closed when I lived there. And so I started pursuing this both from the health department, and I want my own investigations. I got a document in 2011, I think it was, from the health department called Pipeline, which described the influence of septic tanks on increasing algae blooms around the country. And it said basically septic tanks, primary cause of these algae blooms comes from the phosphorus, which is the limiting factor for these blue-green algae blooms. This I learned earlier, but I didn't realize it was a problem on the lake. Our particular development was only a few houses, maybe 20 houses, has a sewer to the city of Lacey, a lift system. But the rest of the lake, although it has trunk lines on both sides, has never connected to the sewer except maybe a few houses. So here we are without sewer and septic tanks, since we're trying to get to a point where we can get this resolved with the cooperation of the county. And that's our hope. So I urge you as expeditiously as possible to pursue this and continue to approve it, and so that we can work together as a community. I no longer live on the lake. I moved into Panorama in 2019, but I've been a supporter of this, been a contributor to this cause for ever since it started, and I intend to continue to support it. But thank you. If you have any questions, I'm free to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pettit, John Pettit?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name's John Pettit. I live on Rich Road at Deschutes River Ranch. A very busy place this last weekend with a lot of hot weather. But what I'm here about today is I saw some things occur last Friday, of which I brought my attention to something, and I wanted to be able to bring a little more perspective and a little bit of hardcore truth to situations. Last Friday, there was a presentation made regarding the idea of a capital project budget amendment. My concern on that particular one that I'm bringing up today was a line item 1, which is listed as a courthouse improvement project. Well, later in the meeting, in good inquiry fashion by Ms. Mejia, a question was brought up as to what's the project number? If it's on the capital facility or capital improvement program, there's a project number. Well, it was released to you, Commissioners, and the number that was identified was number 25610. Now, the reason why this is important is for the capital improvement program as such, when you create a project, you have to actually do the project that's created. You can't just take the money and then turn around and decide to spend it any way you want. Well, this particular program that is listed was also suggested that there'd be bonding for this project in this sum of $50 million. And, you know, the courthouse has been in bad condition, and it was listed by the county in the program as Thurston County Courthouse Infrastructure Upgrades. Now, I'm going to read the exact description of what that includes. It says, the building condition assessment completed by Ming Analysis identified structural, equipment, and systems that have exceeded their lifespans that require major repair or replacement. That's what it is. That's not a change of a building into a law and justice center. It's not a other element. The Ming study is the designated description. Anything that's not in the Ming study should be considered fraudulent to go a different direction. My concern is because the county manager and the assistant county manager have been flaunting the idea that they're going to build a new facility here for a law and justice center. That's not on any capital improvement program. You can't bypass the Growth Management Act and say, we don't have to live by it because we make the rules. You gotta follow the rules. You gotta follow the guidelines. Now, the concern I have is this. you tentatively were supportive of a $50 million bond. And if in fact you move forward with this potential bond, maybe it's even security fraud to present that you're going to be doing a project within your own documents and then seek to use the money some other direction. Under any category, any level of business, it's a piece of fraudulent information to the public. The public is entitled to following the laws. And while I'm not going to get into it a lot further, I'll just say this. If this is an intent and a house of cards built for the idea of manipulating things, you need to start over. The house is going to fall. And I want to see, if you want to go to something different with the courthouse, send it to the Planning Commission with an idea. They're the ones that have to review anything before it goes into the capital improvement program. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else in the boardroom that would like to provide public testimony today? And once. Okay, let's go to Zoom. County Manager, can you call?
Yeah, I don't have anybody in Zoom, so that concludes public testimony, Madam Chair.
Okay. With that, we will move on to our second item on our agenda, which is County Manager's update.
Thank you. I have a couple of updates for you in the public. Let me begin by stating the ordinance number 15308 amended Thurston County Code 6.68.057, in which authorized the county manager in consultation with the fire marshal and other officials to prohibit the discharge of concerned fireworks during the periods of extreme fire danger. In consultation with the fire marshal and the emergency services director and their assessment of the 10-day fuel model report, which is dated June 27th, which shows our area for the next 10 days to be well below the fire season percentiles. Also, significant fire potential for June 27th shows a minimal risk of large fires over the next 7 days. Additionally, we checked the National Weather Service for the next 7 days and shows temperatures at or below normal on June 28th through July 3rd, with a chance of precipitation on June 28th, 29th, July 2nd, and July 3rd. As a result, there will be no ban on discharge of fireworks in the unincorporated areas of Thurston County. I'd just like to inform that that decision was made yesterday. That was the last day allowed by the resolution. And that has been posted, a news release has been issued. Barring any questions, I can move to the next item.
Questions, Commissioner Edwards? No questions for me either.
Thank you. Also, I'd like to follow up to a couple of public comment you received last week, and this is from Mr. Ryan Deskins and Ms. Maddie Barnes, and it was related to the status of the ground mount sub-area plan. They have a specific question related whether a staff member has been assigned and what has occurred and perhaps what is going to occur related to this particular item in the docket. We have assigned a new staff member to this project to pick up. The previous staff member moved on. So what we have accomplished so far is we have held 6 community meetings between 2018 and 2020, which we have reached over 500 people in the area. At this point, the new staff member assigned is building a work plan and developing all the many different options for public input. This particular work plan will be presented to the Planning Commission, hopefully in October 2022. At that point, the Planning Commission will determine the extent of the public engagement in public meetings. But there is an expectation, hopefully the Planning Commission will issue a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners by the end of the fourth quarter, 2022. And we're also hopeful we will have briefing meetings with the Board of County Commissioners in the first quarter, beginning of first quarter 2023, and perhaps leading for the board to make a decision later in 2023. That's what I have in terms of an update. Any questions?
Thank you. County Manager, I just thought maybe it would be good to report about our meeting with Animal Services and kind of the following steps that we're going to be doing.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. There was a concern raised by the Sheriff's Office. They provided specific examples. They responded to a couple of dangerous dogs that apparently got into a chicken coop. The result of that was some of those strayed dogs killed a few of the chickens within the chicken coop. So the Sheriff's Office contacted Animal Services to help on managing the stray dogs, dangerous dogs, because the Sheriff's Office does not have that authority to pick up those animals. So during that conversation, it was late at night, and there was not a response by Animal Services. So we needed to wait or keep those two animals within the chicken coop until the next day. So that was a very difficult sequence of events for the property owner, as you can imagine. We follow up with Animal Service, the executive director, and they explained they are having issues in hiring additional staff members. As you know, the current labor conditions are extremely difficult for anybody who wants to hire individuals. And also they explained that in fact, during the 9 hours, they don't have a call. So that created the situation that I'm describing. As a matter of background, the Board of County Commissioners approved during the 2022-2023 biennial budget for a full service to citizens in the unincorporated areas of the county from Animal Service. And the executive director has assured us they're going to be expediting the process of hiring so they can have the same services the incorporated cities received. Did I answer your question, ma'am?
Yes, and she asked us if there were any, she knew about the incident that happened, but she was hoping we would provide more examples and that way they could improve and better their services. I know Ramiro has reached out to Under Sheriff Brady, and Under Sheriff Brady is working with officers and seeing if there's more information that can be provided to them with specifics.
Thank you.
Okay, questions? Any discussion?
No questions, ma'am.
Okay, with that, we did add a couple of consent items this morning, and it was reappointments to different boards. So it's been extended from consent items 3A through 3E. Are we?
More than happy to outline those items that they haven't added, Madam Chair.
Would you do?
Yeah. So from this morning, the board decided to add the following items. It was the reappointment of Ms. Sheila Greer Fay to the Emergency Medical Services Council for a 2-year term, which had an expiration date of July 31st, 2024. Also, to reappoint Ms. Beck May to the Housing Authority of Thurston County for a 2nd term, which with an expiration date of February 28, 2023. Also reappoint Ms. Jacqueline Simmons to the Storm and Surface Water Advisory Board for another 3-year term with an expiration date of July 9, 2025. And those are the 3 items that you added this as a result of your conversation this morning.
Any questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay, you say Your Honor.
Your Honor. She used the gavel.
Okay, I'm ready for a motion, sir.
I would move to approve consent items A through E.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No other discussions, ma'am.
I'll move for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mentzer's excused. Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Consent items pass. Moving on to department items. Items 4A from the Commissioner's Office is set a public hearing for a ballot proposition to increase the Board of County Commissioners to 5 members.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to take a little time to walk through this proposed resolution before you. That will be the basis in which you may consider setting the public hearing for July 19, 2022 at 3 in the afternoon or soon thereafter. Pursuant RCW 36.32055, parentheses 1, the Board of County Commissioners of a non-charter county, that is Thurston County, with a population of 300,000 or more and less than 400,000 may cast a ballot proposition to be submitted at a general election to the voters of the county authorizing the Board of County Commissioners to increase to 5 members. RCW 36.32052, it speaks about the beginning of 2022. Any non-charter county with a population of over 400,000 or more must have a Board of County Commissioners with 5 members and must use district nominations and district elections if its commissioners' positions are incorporated in accordance to RCW 36.32050. What is the relevance of me highlighting the RCW 36.32052 is fundamental difference. Right now, when the county reaches population over 300,000, the board has the option to send a ballot measure for the voters to approve the increase from 3 to 5 members. RCW 32052 speaks about counties, non-charter counties above the 400,000. They are obligated to go and create a 5 commissioner districts without the voters' approval. That's the fundamental difference between the 2 RCWs. The latter does not apply to Thurston County. And in fact, on June 30th, 2022, just a couple of days away, the Washington State Office Financial Management will be releasing an updated population numbers confirming that Thurston County has a population over 300,000 or more and less than 400,000. And that is the expectation, I believe, this coming week, this week. So if the ballot proposition receives a majority voter approval, RCW 36.32055, parentheses 1, authorizes the size of the Board of County Commissioners shall be increased from to 5 members, including the following steps. The 2 newly created positions, there will be position 4 and position 5, shall be filled at elections to be held in the next year. In this case, will be 2023. The county shall be divided into 5 commissioner districts so that each district shall comprise, as nearly as possible, 1/5 of the population of the county. No 2 members of the existing Board of County Commissioners may, at the time of the designation of such districts, permanently reside in one of the 5 districts. The Board of County Commissioners, by no later than March 13, 2023, and this is predicated on the ballot measure passing in November 8th, shall adopt a resolution creating the districts. If by March 13, 2023, the Board of County Commissioners has failed to create the districts, the prosecuting attorney of the county shall petition the Thurston County Superior Court to appoint a referee to designate the 5 commissioner districts. The referee shall designate such districts no later than June of the year following the election. In this case, will be 2023. The 2 commissioner districts within each of the existing members of the Board of County Commissioners, again, permanently resides, shall be designated as districts 4 and 5. So this particular resolution authorized of a ballot title to increase the number of county commissioners from 3 to 5. Also, this resolution calling for elections, the Board of County Commissioners request the Thurston County Auditor as an ex officio supervisor of election in Thurston County, Washington, to call and conduct a general election in the county in the matter provided by law to be held therein on November 8, 2022 for the purpose of submitting to the voters of the county of their approval or rejection of the question whether the number of Board of County Commissioners shall be increased from 3 to 5 commissioners. In this resolution, you also authorize the clerk of the Board of the clerk of the Board of County Commissioners be directed to certify no later than July 29, 2022 to the county auditor. The ballot proposition language is as follows, and that reflects the revisions the board suggested this morning. The ballot proposition language is as follows. The Thurston County Board of Commissioners passed resolution yet to be numbered concerning a proposition to increase the number of Thurston County Board of Commissioners. This proposition would increase the number of commissioners of the Board of County Commissioners from 3 commissioners to 5 commissioners, who will serve in 5 separate newly elected districts. Should this proposition be approved? Yes or no? You also directed for the purpose of receiving notices on any matter related to this ballot title, as required for RCW 29A.36.080, the Board of County Commissioners here designates the county manager to be the responsible person to receive those feedback. Section 6 also reflects the changes on your discussion this morning, which reads as follows. Require affirmative vote for passage. If the aforementioned proposition receives majority voter approval, the size of the commission shall be increased to 5 members. Section 7 also includes some of the revisions that you suggested this morning, and it reads as follows. General authorization. The proper county official are authorized to perform such duties as are necessary or required by law to put the question or whether or not to increase the number of Board of County Commissioners shall be submitted to the voters. Should the voters approve the ballot proposition in a similar ballot proposition put forth by the Port of Olympia, the Board of County Commissioners shall work collaboratively with the Port of Olympia Commission per joint resolution number 2021-11 to draw the new commissioner boundaries by forming a 3-member redistricting committee, which includes the chair of the county commission, the chair of the port commission, and the county auditor. Here's the additional language. Each time the 3-member redistricting committee meets, a special meeting notice shall be posted in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, OPMA. Each of the Board of County Commissioners and the Port Commission shall take separate legislative actions to approve the newly created districts. If the Port of Olympia ballot proposition does not pass, the redistricting committee may recommend the Port Commission to abstain from approving the newly created districts, and that will apply to the Board of County Commissioners as well. And also Section 9, should the voters approve, if Thurston County voters approve this proposition, the county manager is directed to bring forward to the Board of County Commissioners an ordinance establishing the 5 new county commissioners districts in consultation with the prosecutor's office within 3 months after the November 8th, 2022 election. These are my opening statements. I will be more than happy to answer any questions.
Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
I don't have any questions at this time, thank you.
Thank you. Ramiro, I just have one question in regards to the special meeting notice. And what would be the difference and why is it a special meeting notice?
Because this group is not bound by the Open Public Meetings Act, but this particular requirement allows for a special meeting notice because there is not a structure in which establishes the meeting times and frequency, similar to the Board of County Commissioners. You have your regular meetings that doesn't require a special meeting notice because it's stated on an ordinance when and the time that you meet. Here's a brand new group, doesn't have that structure. So a special meeting notice will be every time they meet, it will be an announcement of their agenda posted 24 hours in advance.
Okay, thank you. Okay. With that, I am ready for a motion, sir, if you are.
I would move to set a public hearing for Tuesday, July 19th, 2022 at 3:30 p.m. or soon thereafter, as the matter may be heard, at the Thurston County Courthouse, Complex Building 1, Room 280, to accept public comment on a proposed resolution to submit to the qualified electors of the county at the general election to be held on November 8th, 2022, to authorize the Board of County Commissioners to be increased from 3 to 5 members pursuant to RCW 3632-055.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Mentzer's excused, Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Motion passes. Next item is item 4B, set a public hearing to repeal and replace the commercial property assessed clean energy and resilience ordinance. Jenica Machado is here. She's our Economic Development Manager.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. So Thurston County Commissioners originally passed the Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy and Resiliency, or known as CPACER, ordinance originally on July 20th, 2021. Recent legislation was passed that clarifies the enforcement provisions of the CPACER statute, refining the collection process for CPACER liens, completely removing any enforcement responsibility from the county treasurer. As such, amendments are necessary for the county ordinance so language aligns with the state law. A public hearing would be required to receive public testimony on the proposed revisions of the CPACER ordinance.
Thank you. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
I've been asked if this was going to force individual homeowners to install electric heating.
No, this ordinance is a program that only applies for commercial properties and is clearly an opt-in program.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. That I am ready for a motion.
I would move to set a public hearing for July 26th, 2022 at 3:30 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard at the Thurston County Courthouse, Building 1, Room 280, to receive public testimony on the proposed revisions to the Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy and Resiliency Ordinance.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Mentzer's excused, Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Motion passes. Our next item, item 5, is from Emergency Services, 5A, Basic Life Support, BLS, Agency Contract Amendment. And Ben Miller-Todd, our Interim Emergency Services Director, is here to present on this item.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This amendment is in front of you today and supported by the fire agencies, who will now be providing in-house EMS training, allowing Medic One to reallocate the dollars spent in teaching those classes towards financial support for each of those in-house initiatives. This increases the autonomy of the agencies to be able to schedule their own training and meets the needs of the individual agencies in terms of their workforce. The amendment contains modifications to the deliverables, which are now in alignment with the transition of tasks from Medic One office to the fire agencies. And the total dollar figure of this amendment is $99,998 and is currently within the current budget for Medic One. In support of this is the EMS Council, who unanimously passed a motion in support of the amendment at their June 15th, 2022 meeting. Please let me know if you have any further questions.
Thank you. Questions?
No further questions. Thank you, Ben.
No questions for me either. I'm ready for a motion.
I would move to approve the Emergency Services Interim Assistant Director, or the Emergency Services Director, to enter into an amendment of the Basic Life Support, BLS, contracts Thurston County has with all 12 Thurston County fire agencies. This amendment allocates additional funds to Thurston County Fire Agency in support of their EMS training.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mentzer's excused. Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. Our last item is from Public Works, item 6A, contract award for Houston Drive Northwest culvert replacement, project number 63017. And Marcus Storvik is here, our senior civil engineer.
Yes, good afternoon, Commissioners. Marcus Storvik, Public Works. On June 8th, 2022, a total of 3 bids were received to construct the Houston Drive Northwest Culvert Replacement Project, project number 63017. Bids were received in response to the work advertised in the Olympian and Daily Journal of Commerce and posted on the Builders Exchange of Washington. The low responsive bid was received from Barcode Construction of Chehalis, Washington, with a bid amount of $423,692.25. This project will replace a 48-inch diameter fish barrier culvert along a tributary to Eld Inlet at Houston Drive Northwest as part of the Thurston County Fish Passage Enhancement Program. The program selects fish barriers for correction based on specific criteria while engaging with local tribes, wire groups, review agencies, and other stakeholders. The new 12-foot wide culvert was previously purchased through a separate contract. The total project cost is estimated to be $800,000. This project will open approximately 1.25 mile of habitat. And with the addition of these two new fish passage projects this summer, Little Rock Road being the other one, the total habitat gain for the program since inception will be approximately 17 miles. This project is in the 2022-2023 Public Works budget, 2022-2027 Transportation Improvement Program and Capital Facilities Plan, and is in alignment with the county's Strategic Plan Initiative 8 to support robust and well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving community, and Initiative 9 to support environmental health and climate stabilization. I'm happy to take any questions.
Questions?
Marcus, how much additional spawning ground will this create?
This one specifically will create 1.25 miles.
Okay. And I might point out to the public that we've had numerous discussions on all of these items, including this morning, if you're interested to watch those discussions. Anyway, no more questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm ready for a motion.
I would move to award the contract for the Houston Drive Northwest Culvert Replacement Project, CP number 63017. To Barcode Construction of Chehalis, Washington, in the amount of $423,692.25. And to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any change orders for this project due to unforeseen conditions only, not for changes in scope, up to 10% of the contract, $42,369, or an aggregate of $466,061.
I'll second. So moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No further discussion. Thank you.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mentzer's excused. Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. Next, for standing items, item 7A, Commissioners will report on board work sessions and assigned committee meetings, providing updates on actions taken as well as upcoming issues. Commissioner Edwards, we'll start with you, sir.
I would just report on the fire commissioners meeting, obviously talking about fireworks and such. The Economic Development Council, trying to see how we can get and create some good living wage jobs, and then the normal constituent calls that are quite plentiful when we're doing complicated issues. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yesterday, I attended the Climate Action Steering Committee on behalf of Commissioner Mentzer. I also reported on the WASAC meeting that I attended last week. And I also attended the Regional Housing Council meeting as well as the Interfaith Garden Party. Nothing really to report on the committees that I haven't reported already. With that, we'll move on to item 7B. The county manager will review the Board of County Commissioners schedule for the week of June 28th, 2022.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Considering the Board of County Commissioners meeting was canceled for July 5th, I will walk you through your combined schedule for the next 2 weeks. Where at least 2 commissioners will be present, you may have individual calendar appointments on your individual calendars. Those will not be part of my report. Nothing for the remainder of the day. Nothing on Wednesday, June 29th. On June 30th, Thursday, you are scheduled to participate on the jail resources team meeting, which begins at 2 in the afternoon. Moving on to next week, Monday, July 4th, the county is closed in observance to the 4th of July holiday. The Tuesday, nothing. The agenda setting has been canceled, as well as the Board of County Commissioners canceled in the afternoon. Wednesday, July 6th, at 1 in the afternoon, you have the review of the July 12th Board of County Commissioners agenda. On Thursday, July 7th, at 10 in the morning, you have your commissioners check-in. And at noon on July 7th, you have asked to participate on the Racial Equity Launch and Learn series meetings. Monday, July 11th, at 9 in the morning, you have a briefing related to the Transportation Improvement Program. At noon, July 11th, on it's Monday, you have your standing Washington State Association of Counties virtual assembly. And in the afternoon, you're invited to participate in the Thurston County Opioid Response Task Force. And then you will be convening again on July 12th, Tuesday, at 9 in the morning for your regular agenda setting. That's all I have for you.
What's that opioid task force?
And I believe that is has been added to the master calendar, and I don't know if Commissioner Messer has asked you to cover for him on that.
Okay. More to come. Okay. With that, we have reached the end of our agenda. It is 2:58 p.m. It was a short agenda today, and we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.